Welcome to the football show and this Legends special. Alan Ruff is alongside me, Peter Martin, and I'm delighted to say our legend today is none other than Rangers midfielder Ian Durrant. So much to cram into your career, Durrant. It's hard to believe we're going way back to the 80s when it all kicked off for you. It must seem like an absolute eternity ago.
Oh, that was the twilight years. Great times, great memories. Obviously now been lucky enough to play at a young age, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. How
special was it for you because you were a Rangers fan? You know, this is, some people suggest that if you get to play for your boyhood club, it means more to you.
It was always a dream, but I was fortunate enough at the time, Peter. Now they were redeveloping the stadium at the time, and along with myself, Derek Ferguson and Robert Fleck, we got a chance to get in the first team. Now, obviously, the money available to the manager wasn't available at that time, so he relied on youth. And as I said, now myself, Derek and Robert got a chance under Big Jock Wallace.
Yeah, and with that in mind, you know, people will look at your period, and you just alluded to it there with regards to the money. You're at a time when, you know, the millions are not there, the star players from England are not coming in. What was the mindset at that time at Rangers when you're thinking, oh, we're going to get a chance here?
Basically trying to establish yourself now. You're Raphael Town, you know, you're a young kid and you're getting into a first team environment. It's quite daunting at times. Now you're in now, characters like David Cooper, Peter McCloy, Derek Johnston. Now, when I was on the ground staff, you could hear them barking. So to go from one environment now, from being a boot boy to being a first team player, it opened your eyes up, but it was a pleasant surprise, but a good surprise when you finally get amongst them.
I think one of the biggest discussions we have in here at the present day, why the youngsters aren't getting a game, are basically just you said there. We got a chance back then, didn't we? We got a chance to go in and play with these experienced players.
That's what I say to people. Now you get the chance, but you're also, when you get the chance, along with yourself, you played at a young age. Now you've got to be good enough, and if you're good enough and handle the atmosphere, then it doesn't matter now. They talk about now players being like 21, 22 now, and they see, but if you're good enough and you've got the desire and the will, I think now you need that. There's not a lot of that, I don't think, in young boys now. There's other distractions outside football, but I was playing under a light, no bigger than that. Now, until you get called up, no, that's just, I wanted to play football, and my main aim was, if I get a chance, I'll take it.
Yeah. Was there a player that you looked up to that was an inspiration to you? That you thought, oh, God, I want to be like him?
Well, at that time when we trained at the Albion, Peter, now we had a small bit, and you always looked up, and for some reason I always seen David Cooper in training. At that time, he wasn't under Big Jock. He wasn't getting a game regular, but you just seen the amount of skill he had. Now I think it's well known him, Big Jock had disagreements, but he was just a player everybody looked under. Now the Moody Blue, but he was a great character. And now we used to share, when I was staying in Bodwell, we used to share the train back at Bodwell, and he'd head for the bookies and I'd head for my flat. That's the script, but he was the one, along with now at that time Bobby Russell, who was similar mould, similar weight, similar position, and they were people who related to most.
Yeah, Rangers, when it did eventually change and the money came in, you're a young player, and a young player that I think, you know, everybody was suggesting that all these superstars were coming in. You're a young player that I think, even, you know, as a young boy myself, I'm looking, I'm thinking, you know, Ian Durrant, he is going to, you know, one of the key midfielders for us, not only for club, but he could go on to establish himself for country. Did you feel confident, or were you overawed when suddenly, you know, Souness arrives and the big name players start coming?
You were. Now, when Graham arrived, now that he absolutely savaged the place in terms. Now I think there was 16 free transfers as soon as he came in, and there was only about 6 or 7 getting kept on. And now when Graham came in, there was under now David Holmes, the short set, he was going to get money to spend. And then I remember I was sitting in this one day, I come back and Terry Butcher walked in, and I was, what was that, 9 stone. And this man had to duck coming in the door, and then you go, geez, they're the England captain. And then you go, well, do you want to be a part of it or don't you? And I was like, well, I was going to make sure. And that just coming that summer, I made sure I was going to be fit enough to come in and be part of now what was going to be evolving at Rangers.
Yeah, as well as being able to play, there's one word that I always associated with you, and it was gallus, because you must have had to have had that little bit of streak about you.
Oh, you did. I think now. I enjoy playing football in Raphael Town now. When you're getting a chance to play in front of now, like Ibrox and going to Celtic Park and Pack House now, why waste it? Now you've got to have that bit of streak about you. Because I did, at the time I was cocky, I did think, now, I didn't fear anybody, but I wasn't now overawed by anybody or disrespectful to anybody. I just had a belief in my ability that I could go and entertain and play.
And see with Graham coming, did that have a big influence on you? You know, the player that he was and where you wanted to be?
Honestly, if I thought I was a good player before the gaffer came, and then when I played aside the gaffer, I went into another mode in terms of how my game improved. Now, game intelligence, I always talked about game intelligence, and you do take it for granted. Now you can go, but he was now educating you in how to play. And now we'll talk a wee bit later on about the injury, but up until I got injured, now playing with Graham was an education itself, and I just felt it's improved now tenfold.
Yeah. What about were there games then? Was there a special game? You know, I always think your career kind of was defined into two sections. You know, pre-injury, post-injury, but pre-injury, when you're playing with these players and you're playing alongside, Graham Souness, was there specific games that you thoroughly enjoyed? And you did score in your Old Firm debut. That
was great. Now, it just when you get into the team, you try to establish yourself in the team. But when Graham came, there was an anticipation that we could win things. And I don't think there was under Big Jock. And all of a sudden now you're challenging for things, and now your whole game now is going now, rather than being in a survival mode, he's creating this winning mentality, and that was the thing. Now we came in and we went, oh well, this is changing now. This is evolving around us, and it was great. And we were there, but Graham took us to there. And then we started challenging Celtic for the major honours. Yeah,
and the other incredible thing about it is not only do you survive and thrive in that environment, but of course, the man with the rhinoceros's skin must have been your best pal McCoist, because there were times when I looked as if it could have been a revolving door at Ibrox for him. He looked as if he was on his way out, and he still hung in there.
And he probably told you, prior to Graham coming, Big Jock Wallace said he could go to Cardiff, and as you know now, Coisy said, no, I want to fight, and now the rest is history. Now he's not called Golden Bollocks for nothing. He turned everything now. His goals alone now made sure Rangers were going to now be again winning things. But now it just shows you now, if he'd have decided to go, he might have been playing for Cardiff, but he said no, I'll stay and stick around and be part of what was going to be coming.
Yeah. Was there a specific game that sticks in your memory at that time? The one special one?
I think everybody talked the Aberdeen game, the cup final. I think now when you talk about a complete game, I think that's the most complete game I think I could have put together in my Rangers career. Everything I seemed to touch that day now turned out, and I was fortunate enough to get man of the match and also score the winning penalty, which is now again a big thing. At that time, I was still a young boy at that time, but I was again now. I think that was my 5th winners medal at that time, so I was taking a lot of pride in winning, and as I said now, Graham instilled that winning mentality, and it's stand me in good stead for the rest of it.
Yeah. Was playing for Scotland important to you at that time, or were you just always thinking Rangers?
Oh, I was delighted. Now I've well documented. I don't think I played as much as I could for Scotland due to injury, but I love getting away with Scotland. Now I love playing with Paul McStay. I had great battles with Paul in the park, but to pick a midfielder you want to play with now, I'd pick Paul McStay any day, any time. I thought he was a fantastic player. I think now what he done for Celtic alone just shows the testament to the player he was, and I loved and enjoyed playing with now Paul McStay.
Before we talk about you as a player and that fateful day, at that point, do you look at your career with regret, or do you look at it with I'm lucky? It depends. Is it a half full or a half empty?
No, it's nearly full, but you do have the regret as the injury, obviously, that what happened. But I've said many a time there was a lot worse things happened in me. Now hurt my knee. Other things have happened in people's lives now, like wars, anything now. So I felt privileged, and I felt honoured every time I played. Now, at one point I was told I wouldn't play again, so that gave me another insight, another battle to get through, and I overcame that mountain as well. But just to play out, rough at 10, your best days are when you're in the dressing room in the banter, and then you go and play on a Saturday for what you're getting paid to do.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, psychologically, I think it tells you everything about Durrant, that he was able to get through that.
Yep. And personally, as I've said on numerous occasions, never had a long-term injury. But we spoke about Snodgrass when he has been out for the length of time. It's a mental thing that you've got to get round, and as Ian said there, sometimes you need your mates to come into that dressing room when you're sitting on the table and just have a wee bit of banter, and it keeps you going.
Yep. Okay, after the break, we're going to talk about Ian Durrant that day up at Pittodrie. We'll also look at more glory years. Very lucky in this Legends programme that we have one of the best midfielders of his generation here to talk about club and country. Coming after the break, it's more with the Rangers midfielder Ian Durrant. Join us if you can, Ruffy and myself. Looking forward to it. Welcome back to the Football Show on this Legends special. Our legend today is former Rangers of Scotland midfielder Ian Durrant. Delighted to have Durranty with us talking about his career. In the first part of the programme, it's a young Ian Durrant, it's a gallus Ian Durrant. The tackle, the day, what are your memories of it?
October 8th, 1988, 8 minutes past 3. 10 past 3, I'm lying in the treatment table in the away restaurant, not knowing what's happening, and you could hear there was a bit of the club doctor was frantically going about, and you know then now usually they're about you and they're reassuring you, but there was no nothing. There was a funny silence. Then I thought, now this must something up, but you're not really thinking of those thoughts are now. Like your cruciates away. Then the first time I heard cruciate was when Terry Butcher, he came in at half time, well documented. Big Butch was cracked a couple of doors, and I just heard he was the first man to ever mention cruciate. And then it just now that time then it was just a bit of blood after that. Now I got a wee injection to stem the pain.
Yeah, in the game, Rangers and Aberdeen games were always feisty anyway. I mean, did you sense even after 8 minutes this one was like, you know, because they were always Rangers, and the 9 in a row Rangers were your biggest competitors.
Their games were all, I remember now, it's been well documented now, but obviously Aberdeen fans think it, but that's part and parcel now. I know I'll never be a favourite, but then now, it stemmed from years now, obviously under Sir Alex, now Aberdeen were the dominant team now, and I don't think that the two big Glasgow clubs liked it at the time, but that's now, he had a great team at that time, but again, I remember Neil Cooper rattled a few tackles early doors, and it's just now it was 8 minutes. I wouldn't say now it was going to be a malicious game after 8 minutes, but I switched off. I remember the referee Louis Thou blowing the whistle, and normally when you blow the whistle, now you carry on. For some reason I stopped. And then the car crash came in outside of me. It just was bang.
I was going to say, in my memory of it, and correct me if I'm wrong here, because obviously the medical side of footballs went on. I don't remember you going off on a stretcher. I know, but
there was during obviously it went to a court case for loss of earnings, and at the time the medical service, the only available stretcher apparently was what they said was outside the ground in an ambulance. Now you see them at the side. Now obviously things have changed, but because it was well documented that Phil Bosmer picking me up and carry me off, and a lot of people said they could have done damage. The damage, the surgeon Peter Scott, who done a remarkable job in the army had now. When I eventually went to America to get it fixed, the Americans they couldn't believe what the Scottish surgeon had done to my knee in terms of how he what they think successfully now rebuilt it, and he said the damage was already done. Yeah. Now a lot of people questioned why did he carry off, but it's just because now there wasn't an available stretcher inside the ground.
How did you amaze yourself with the mentality, the psychology to fight back and get back?
I did. I chose off my own back to a place called Lillishall, which was the sort of like coldest of its time. Now, damp, dreary, but you're away in the middle of nowhere. Now, just your main focus is getting back from injury. And I was down there, and I said to now, I've seen some horrific injuries that were far worse than mine, and now like jump jockeys down at Lillishall where now they have to get back on a horse with their scars are still now bleeding, but they have to get back on a horse because if they don't get on a horse they don't get paid. I was still getting paid, albeit through injury, and I was down there and I got this siege mentality where I focused every day and now you want to get back, and it was hard work. A few days now you've hit a brick wall, but you've got to people. It was run by ex-army men. Grant Downey, who later became a physio, and they just battered me. Now, but physically, the psychology bit of it, to program your head into now that's happened. Now you've got to go forward.
Tell me what it means to you when you actually go back. You play in a reserve game. I think something like, what was it, about 35,000 fans turn up?
It's cat your pants time. Seriously, the game's going on, and you're going about the game, and it's just out the side. Now they never opened enough turnstiles, and then there's all these fans at the side of the park, and it's chaos. So the ball breaks to the left, and then there's just this cascade of thousands of fans, and then they're trying to come on the park, and it was amazing. Now things now, there's always wee bits that live with your life, but that day now, but it was I panicked for 10 minutes because now you feel as though you've got to do something. But I was told just to play for 60 minutes. End up playing the full 90 because I wasn't wanting to come off.
Yeah.
In case now, just at that time now, you work so hard to get back. Now goes, well, I don't want to miss anything.
Yeah, and post tackle, this is an Ian Durrant whose game changes. Did you notice that yourself? Did you think I'm going to have to change?
I had to just not just the physical side of which now you lose. I lost a couple of yards, which was a big part of my game. Then I had to adapt myself to now using my left foot more than I did now because the injury. I was predominantly right-footed, so then I had to mirror this image of my left foot, and constantly now for 6 months all I'd done in training was kick the ball with my left foot.
Wow, I mean, hey, there's a lesson in application right away there. Mm-hmm. As far as the games after that, there's a picture behind you there. You're part of a galaxy of stars and a vital cog in it. I mean, goals. Tell me one goal in particular in that period all the way to your end of your Rangers career. Is there one that sticks in your mind that you enjoyed the most?
Obviously, the people, they'll talk about the Marseille one, which now, it's just an instinctive strike. Now, I was lucky enough to keep it down, and these things come off. You could end up, if you take it, end up in Rosehead, heading towards Nancy or something. But I was fortunate enough. Other ones, I remember, I came back against Celtic, and I got a tap in for 3 yards. But prior to that, it was an old back because I was involved at the start, then they build up, and then I've made a late run into the box, which was now something that I was known for. And there was wee bits now, small bits that come into your game, you go, I used to do that, I can still do it, and it gave you another boost. Now, the Leeds games, now, they were fantastic. Now, just now playing against now the English champions, now nobody fancies at all. I remember the boy, I was talking about the other day, I don't know if you remember reporter John Stadler for the Sun. Well, he absolutely battered the English Sun. And now, it was 2-1 in the first leg. Archie Knox was a man for now keeping snippets, and so he had all these snippets of the Sun. Now they say the jocks will be quicker over Hadrian's Wall, quicker than they come down. So now everything before the game. Sir Alex Ferguson's in the dressing room before the game. I mean, and they had just lost the league to Leeds, didn't they? So he's now make sure, and he gave a wee pep talk. Make sure you don't have any regrets. I remember him saying that, and we get through.
Yeah, I mean, it was that second game was unbelievable because if Ibrox was silenced with Gary McAllister's goal, I mean, Hateley's absolutely stunned everybody.
It's amazing because the goalie's kicked the ball and I've won a header. So I think it's the first header I've ever won. And I'm jumping against Chris Fairclough's about 6'5". I've won a flick on. and Mark what Mark done it, and Coisty, to his credit, Coisty still thinks that's his best goal. The move, the second goal against Leeds, but he's now again not known for his heading. But again, now Mark Hale again drills a ball across, and Ali puts in the bottom corner. And it was celebration. I remember it was funny that time because we were playing Celtic on the Saturday, but we just at that time now the money was coming into the game at that time in terms of now the lucrative of Champions League. The gaffer says, he's right, make sure you're on the bus at 7:30. So, if you're not playing. So it was a couple of bodies carried on the bus at 7:30. and then we go down the road, and we never done anything at all for the Wednesday to the Saturday, and then we go and we win 1-0 at Parkhead.
Yeah, and we keep hearing a bit of that era. We keep hearing that the bonding that he's had as players, play together, socialise together. Was that a big part of it?
It was, Ruffy. It was everybody now. They all think now every day. Fucking hell, it's crazy. Honestly, you couldn't. It was just we had this thing. We had a wee players pool now together, and every 3 weeks we out, and the gaffer loved it. We were out and we did enjoy ourselves. But the next day we were pounding the track to get it out.
Yeah. And
we did great. Now the goalie, Big Richard Goff, he let his hair down now and again. He broke into a fiver a couple of times. And you'd Coisty, Stuart McCall, he loved it. Great boy and great engines.
But I think the point you make there is, boy, you know, your teammates and yourself, you could play. You know, I think that was the key thing about that team. Everyone could play. You might be able to party hard, but it wasn't on a regular basis, because the trophies determine that. Just before we finish, how would you like to be remembered, you know, in your career at Rangers?
I enjoyed I Swell Dog. I enjoyed myself, but just for people, and I hope they enjoyed watching us play, because when you're associated with a club for so long, it's a special place to be in. And now every day was now another story, another giggle, and it was a special place to be at the time, and a special place to play. As I said, now I had a great grounding under Big Jock in terms of the discipline side of it and how to be a Ranger, and then with Graham Souness and Walter Smith come along, now the winning mentality instilled into me, and as I said, now it's served me for the rest of my life in terms of how to conduct yourself and have that steely determination not to take second best.
Well, listen, we could talk for an absolute eternity with this man. I hope you've enjoyed just a small insight into the Rangers legend that is Ian Durrant. Thanks to Ian from Ruffy and myself. Good night.